Have you ever said something in English and the other person went quiet? Maybe they looked a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe they just changed the subject, but you had no idea why. Here's the thing, you probably didn't say anything wrong, you just said something that to a native speaker sounded a little bit rude. Today, I'm showing you 10 phrases that intermediate learners use all the time completely innocently that can come across as blunt, dismissive, or even offensive to native speakers. And more importantly, I'll show you what to say instead. Hi, my name is Tanya, you're watching English with Speaker. And if you want to go far beyond YouTube videos, I offer one-to-one classes. Check the link in the description box. Let's go! Okay, first one, and this one surprises everyone. You should go to the doctor. You should try that restaurant. You should apologize to her. You are being helpful, right? You are giving good advice. But to a native speaker, you should can sound like a command, like you are telling them what to do, like a parent talking to a child. It sounds rude because it's too direct and it removes the other person's choice. Say this instead. Have you thought about going to the doctor? You might want to try this restaurant. It's amazing. It might be worth apologizing, just to clear the air. These phrases give the same advice, but they respect the other person's autonomy. That's the difference between sounding helpful and sounding bossy. This one. Oh, this one. That's not my problem. That's not my problem. Learners use this because it sounds logical. Literally, that's not your problem. But to a native speaker, this phrase sounds cold, dismissive, almost aggressive. Imagine someone saying, "The meeting was cancelled? That's not my problem." Even if it's completely true, it shuts the conversation down and makes you sound as if you don't care at all. In professional settings, say, "I'm afraid that's outside my area, but let me see who can help." Or, "That's not something I'm able to help with, unfortunately." Or, "I'm not sure I'm the right person for this." But now what about formal situations? With friends? Surely it's fine. Honestly, still risky. Even between friends, "that's not my problem" can, ouch, sting. It signals, "I don't want to engage with this. You're on your own." Close friends might let it slide, but it can create distance without you meaning it to. With friends, say, "Oh no, that's rough. I'm not sure what I can do, but I feel for you." "Oh, that sounds stressful. Have you tried?" "That's a tough one. What are you going to do?" The only context where it really works informally is when you are joking. And even then, your tone has to make it 100% that you are not being serious. So now you have 6 alternatives. Same meaning, completely different energy. Obviously. Obviously, this one is sneaky because it does sound sophisticated, like an advanced word. And it is an advanced word, but it has a hidden danger. Obviously, you need to send the email first. Obviously, that's the wrong answer. The problem? Obviously implies that the other person should already know this, that they are slow for not knowing it. It can make people feel stupid even if you don't mean it that way at all. It sounds rude because it makes you sound like you think that you are better than others without you noticing it. Here are some better alternatives. Of course, the first step would be to send an email, or "as you might expect," or "just to clarify." And if you want to agree with something, instead of obviously, say absolutely or exactly. They sound much warmer. It is one thing to know these phrases, and it's absolutely the other when you actually use them. Join my speaking club to actually and finally practice these phrases and become a fluent English speaker. The link is in the description box. Phrase number 4, and "I was just joking." I was just joking. Okay, this one is a little different. It's not rude before you say it, it's rude after. This phrase is normally followed with a comment. And this comment makes it sound rude. For example, you make a comment, someone looks upset, and you say, I was just joking, calm down. In English, this comment dismisses the other person's feelings. You're basically saying your reaction is wrong, which makes things even worse, not better. It sounds rude because it puts blame on the other person for being offended, for being sad with you. You can say this instead. I'm so sorry, this came out wrong. Or, that was a bad joke, I didn't mean to offend you. Or, I was trying to be funny, but I think I misjudged that one. Sorry. Own it. That's the native speaker way. You look tired. You look tired. This one. I know. In many cultures, telling someone they look tired is caring. You're noticing them. You are concerned. But in English, it translates as you look terrible. Seriously, saying you look tired to a native speaker is almost an insult. They'll go straight to the bathroom to check their face. It sounds rude because it attracts attention to somebody's appearance in a negative way. Say this instead. Are you okay? You seem a little quiet today. Or, is everything alright? You don't seem yourself. Or, tough week? You still show concern, but you're focusing on how they feel, not how they look. That's the key difference. Imagine you are in a meeting. A colleague says something incorrect, and you say, that's wrong. Even if you're 100% right, this phrase lands like a slap. It's blunt, it's public, and it gives the other person no room to save face. It is rude because it sounds like a verdict, not a correction. Say this instead. I'm not sure if it's quite right. I think it might be. Or, actually, I've heard something slightly different. I wonder if that's fully accurate. What's your source? In English-speaking cultures, how you correct someone matters just as much as the correction itself. Can you do this? Can you do this? This one sounds completely fine, and technically it is, but in a professional context, can you do this can come across as demanding, almost like an order with a question mark on the end. Especially in writing, emails, messages, it sounds quite sharp. It sounds rude because there's no please and no acknowledgement of the other person's time. Say this instead. Would you be able to? Or, I was wondering if you could help me with, or when you get a chance, could you? These small changes make you sound more collaborative and not commanding. And this really matters. Number 8, and what do you want? What do you want? In some languages, this is just a normal neutral question. In English, especially with the wrong tone, it sounds aggressive and annoyed, like you're irritated that someone's talking to you. Instead, say this: how can I help? Or what can I do for you? Or informal, friendly, what's up? What's up? One word of difference, completely different feeling. As I said before, this one is very common in emails and meetings, and it feels logical. You're referring back to something you already explained. But as I said before, in English has a very specific tone. It implies, I already told you this. Why are you making me repeat myself? It sounds impatient, passive-aggressive even. It sounds rude because it makes the other person feel like they were not listening or weren't smart enough to remember. Say this instead. Just to recap. Or to go back to what we discussed. Or as a quick reminder, same message, no passive aggression. Okay, last one, no problem. no problem. And this might be the most controversial because no problem is everywhere. Here's the nuance. In informal situations with friends and family, no problem is completely fine. But in professional settings or when someone thanks you for something you did deliberately and with effort, no problem can actually minimize what you did. Can also sound a little dismissive, like you're brushing off their thanks. It even can raise an eyebrow. I cannot do it. It sounds off because it implies the thing was absolutely effortless. And in professional settings, that might land strangely. Say this instead. Of course. Absolutely happy to help. It was my pleasure. Anytime. These responses accept the thank you instead of pushing it away. So, there you have it. 10 expressions that may sound rude in English even when you have the best intentions. And this is exactly why learning spoken English matters so much. It's not just about grammar, it's about the tone, the context, and the tiny details that native speakers pick up on immediately. And if you want to keep practicing this kind of English, you have two options. You can have one-to-one classes with me, the link is in the description box, or join a speaking club and make more friends from around the world. Comment below which of these phrases surprised you the most. I always read the comments and you might just teach me something too. If this helped you, give it a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell in order not to miss any of new lessons. Thank you for being here with me today. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!